Hello, everybody. Welcome to this global conference organized by Gobeshona. Today's session is on advancing resilience in cities and urban areas, drawing insights from urban ecosystem-based adaptation projects in Asia. So this session is organized by UNEP in collaboration with EbA and Global Adaptation Network. So thank you so much for joining today. And I'm Moon Shrestha, and I'll be moderating the session today. So on today's session, we'll be talking about, next slide, please. On today's session, we'll be talking about urban ecosystem-based adaptation. So we all know that there are various ecosystem-based adaptation implemented in different cities all over the world. In this session, we'll be talking more on the ecosystem-based adaptation that has been implemented in the Asia region, mainly focusing on, we'll have presentation from Thailand, Indonesia, Cambodia, Laos, right? So did I forget any other countries? Yeah, so, and Indonesia, yes, sorry if I forgot Indonesia. And we will be learning about, we will be listening to what they have done, the lessons they have learned from their interventions, the challenges they have faced, and how they have addressed those challenges and move ahead. So this is going to be a 90 minutes conference, 90 minutes session. So I really look forward to your active presentation, and thank you so much once again for participating. So today we will, the first part of the session will be an opening remark from Mr. Mozahirul Alam, and followed by 6 presentation. And then after that, we'll open up a floor for question and answer session. So hopefully we'll be able to finish in 60 minutes. So without any further delay, and at the end of the session, we'll have a Mentimeter. I'll let you know about that Mentimeter too. So without any delay, I want to move ahead with our session. But then before that, may I please request all our participants to turn on the video so that we can take a picture. We can capture you and take a group picture, virtual picture. So colleagues, if you, for 1 minute, if you could turn on the videos, everybody, all the participants, everybody, so that our colleagues here will take a picture. Yeah. Perfect. I think, please, colleagues from the participating participants also, I'd really like to request you to open on the videos so that we can take a picture. Sorry?
Shrestha, it's in webinar mode and it's only panelists who can turn on their camera.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, my bad. So, no. Okay, maybe Vanessa, can you take a snapshot and then? Okay, thank you so much. And I think my colleague Vanessa will share the picture in the chat. Yeah, sorry that we couldn't capture the photo for all the participants. So moving on with our session now, I'd like to go to the opening session. I'd like to request Mr. Mozahirul Alam. We call all of us know him as Babu. Mr. Alam is the regional coordinator climate change in the UNEP regional office for Asia and Pacific, and he's also the head of EBA Secretariat. Over to you, Babu.
Thank you, Mon. Good morning to you all. And it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to this virtual session on advancing resilience in cities and urban areas and drawing insight from the urban ecosystem-based adaptation project in Asia. On behalf of United Nations Environment Program, the Global Adaptation Network, and the APAN Secretariat, it is my pleasure and honor to address today on this one of the three, the crisis, the climate change that exceed the national borders, and the problem travels from one ecosystem to another ecosystem and affects all of us. We'll be hearing from the distinguished speaker, as Moon has already mentioned, but I'd like to mention a couple of points in the context of the climate change and urban and the cities. As we know, the cities are the beating heart of our economy and growth engine, as well as hub of the innovation and culture. While effects of climate change are widespread, it poses unique challenges in densely populated urban areas where increasing urbanization coupled with the limited urban planning puts cities at a risk from climate change. Cities is also a high source of the emission as it demand the huge energy. About the 70% of the carbon emission is coming from the energy sector in the cities. So therefore, the cities provide an unique opportunity to address both low carbon as well as the climate resilient development. As we navigate the complexities of the climate change, it becomes increasingly evident that the traditional, the infrastructure-centric approaches to adaptation are not enough. We must embrace a paradigm shift towards the ecosystem-based adaptation strategies, particularly in urban setting. And why? Because the nature-based solution offer a multitude of benefits that go beyond mere the resilience against the climate change impacts. For example, ecosystem-based adaptation harness the power of nature to provide the cost-effective, sustainable solution through the preservation of the natural habitat and the restoration of the green space. It also provides the scope to engage the communities and give them the ownership to the solution. Despite the potential of the ecosystem-based adaptation, we also have several challenges, including the finance, the technology, the capacity, as well as the political will. Before I end, I'd like to mention or emphasize three things. One, we need to invest in research and innovation to advance the ecosystem-based adaptation, including monitoring the effectiveness of the ecosystem-based adaptation. Second is mainstreaming the adaptation into the urban planning and the policies. And by harnessing the power of ecosystem, we can build the cities that are not only resilient to the impacts of climate change, but also sustainable, livable, and inclusive for all. Let me end by expressing my gratitude to all the speakers and the participants to our session, and very much looking forward to learning more from the speakers. Thank you once again to all of you. Over to you, Mo.
Thank you so much, Babu. Thank you so much for that inspiring opening remark, which has set the scene for this whole session now. And thank you. I think you've put it very right that ecosystem-based adaptation is an opportunity for us to not only contributes in the climate change adaptation, but has a multiple benefits, and also it really helps to harness the ecosystem, the natural assets of the country, of the area, as well as the social and economic assets. So thank you so much, Babu, for this opening remark. Now I'll move on to the second session of our session, where as we have said that we have very interesting presentation lineup for you all, and I really would like to go on to the second session of our presentation. So maybe can you put on? Yes. So I would like to go on the phone. I would like to request Ms. Suprani Kamphosong for the first presentation. Suprani Kamphosong, also known as Pern, is the head of Thailand program of IUCN. Over to you, Kunpon.
Sawadee ka. Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly. Okay, so now let's start from the case study from Thailand. And thank you so much for inviting me to join this. Next slide, please. So I will go over this urbanization conundrum and the land use dynamic, impact of climate change in the urban, and mainstreaming EbA and NBS in the city. Next slide, please. Okay, let's zoom in what societal challenges that the urban areas or elsewhere in your countries are experiencing now. IUCN, under this nature-based solution approach, we identify 7 societal challenges, and the most related one to this forum, it is the disaster risk reduction, environmental degradation and biodiversity loss, and also the climate change mitigation and adaptation. And the rays are obviously are visible, and you can really feel it at the local level as well. Next, please. This is an example of the urbanization expanding into the nature. The photo, this is from Surat Thani province in the south, where the urban area on the right-hand side of the, the left-hand side of the photo, the pink area, those are the urban and the city itself. But if you look at the picture on the right-hand side in 2023 now, pink area are now expanding into the mangrove areas, and those are very like wetland vulnerable area, but the demand of lands and the economic development needs in the country and in the city is increasing incredibly. So then the nature is now being degraded in supporting of this economic growth. Next slide, please. And this is a classic scenario where the water-related disasters are visible in the city. Flood is more frequent and more severe in many areas, not only in Thailand. That's because of the one of the reason is the land use change, of course, and ability of the ecosystem service. It's really degraded. Next slide, please. This is, you can click all 3. Yes, and this is the scenario of what the conventional methods for urbanization. The first picture that you can see that we normally remove all the natures and concretize all the supporting means for the economic growth or for people to live in the city, to live their life so inconvenient. But when the impact of climate change really happens, for example, overflow of rains or the overflow of rivers and a heavy rain happens, then the city resiliency has been gone, and then people are really like facing the disaster. So then the last picture of the having nature back to the city, that's what we really want to move forward. Next slide, please. This is to emphasize again that why ecosystems are so important, and as well as their services, because people with this good ecosystem services, people can really cope with and recover from the disaster, and of course can provide cost-effective nature buffers, and those healthy ecosystems are more resilient to the extreme weather events, and ability of human or the ability of the nature system to sequester a carbon will be reduced when the ecosystem is degraded. Next slide, please. Now let's move on to what is nature-based solution. I'm sure that you heard about this for a couple of years already. Actually, this one emerged since late 1990s, and the standard has been launched officially in 2021 in June. And we have this definition by IUCN. The action NBS are the actions to protect, sustainably manage, and restore natural and modified ecosystem that address societal challenges effectively, adaptively, simultaneously, providing human well-being and biodiversity benefits. The last 2 are the most important results of the nature-based solution investment. Always have these multiple benefits for nature and for human being. And nature-based solution has 8 standards and 28 indicators, which we don't have enough time to really explain about this. So next slide, please. So this is the scenario that we want to see. The benefits of the nature-based solution, of course, it can help the communities to prepare, cover, and cope with and recover from the disaster. And it proves already that through the development time of this NBS that it is cost-effective and no regret solution to really reduce the risk from the disaster. But keep in mind that nature-based solution is a long-term investment. If you know that your city will be flooded in the next months, then just start the nature-based solution for now. It doesn't help you that quickly. So this is a long-term plan for the city to really have a specific plan and investment to this nature-based solution. Next slide, please. Under this nature-based solution family, its umbrella, this is the magic number of 572. There are 5 ecosystem-based approaches, 7 societal challenges that you need to address, and 2 main benefits. And EbA, of course, is a part of this NBS family. It is only one of the approach, if you can see that number 2, the issue-specific ecosystem related. And with that, the eco-DRR, these 2 are the familiar terms that I think many organizations, not only in Thailand, but all over the world, started the implementation. Next slide, please. This is just to emphasize again that how important the ecosystem is and why nature-based solution is really encouraged to implement all over the world and being adopted recently under this global biodiversity framework last year. And of course, nature-based solution, EbA is a part of this nature-based solution that harness biodiversity and ecosystem services. We need to make sure that we bring back those ecosystem services to support our well-being and biodiversity recovery. Next slide, please. This is a new, not the new standard, but the cycle, the adaptive cycle of all steps of EbA. If you question yourself, if my implementation or my projects could be qualified as EbA or not, then you need to look at all of these steps. This one couldn't be missed. You need to start from step number 1 until step number 8 and then go back there again because it is adaptive, and make sure that it is all the steps are applied to your project implementation. Next slide, please. Okay, so then these are some examples of nature-based solution approaches in the urban area. These are not new, of course, but as I said, if you want to label or certify your project as EbA or nature-based solution, you need to look back at the 8 standard and the 828 criteria, and as well as the 8 step of EbA. If those are applied and all the results are captured and really benefits both biodiversity and human well-being with a solid evidence to prove that, so then that could be qualified as the NBS and EbA. And you may see that this is, well, it's the everyday approaches that you may apply in your city already, but it's very important to look at the result as well. Next slide, please. This is the example of Singapore that really inspired our project, and we found that this is very comprehensive, where nature, economic development, and socio-economic growth go along well with, and then that's the result of this. They really mainstream it into their national policy and implementation at the city level as well. Next slide, please. So you will see that this is the green and blue plan in Singapore that have a clear zoning and maps of where the green space and blue space should be and how the people can really access to those green and blue facilities. Next slide, please. This is a good example of the canal that used to be concretized before, and now it is green, and the city has modified all of this nature space, make sure that all of this pond and wetland can really retain the water and city will not be flooded. Next slide, please. And this is the case study of Thailand. If you can go next, and then all the approach will come up. This is the project that we are implementing in IUC in Thailand now in the target area of Chiang Rai and Surat Thani. And of course, nature-based solution framework will be applied, and we are targeting at climate change adaptation, urban area, and sustainable urban development, disaster risk reduction, as well as the biodiversity conservation. Oh, the most important one is the stakeholder engagement. With this, we break down into 4 components. Important inputs is the climate risk and vulnerability scientific information. We have a map, and then we will introduce the nature-based solution measures based on the informed map of the risk and climate that we get from component number 1. And then we will mainstream it into the policy level, make sure that the last one, make sure that those policymakers having capacity to really develop and take it forward into the policy and having a proper investment in their city and use this nature-based solution idea in their urban development plan. Next slide, please. So this is the summary of if you invest a specific amount of the budget into nature-based solution or eco-DR, EBA in your city, then your socioeconomic and ecological resilience will increase with, of course, the final benefits of human well-being and biodiversity. Next slide, please. I think that's the end of my presentation. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Kunpon. And you could see the participant clapping. They really appreciate your presentation, and especially it was also very refreshing. I'm sure participants will agree with me that it's very refreshing for you to go through, refreshing that. Um, I don't need to unmute. No, like it's very refreshing that you touch upon the principles of ecosystem-based adaptation and nature-based solution and why it matters, and it was very refreshing. So thank you so much. So colleagues, if you have any question to Kunpon or any of our presenter, please start writing on the chat box, so that at the end of the session we can collect it, and my colleagues here will be consolidating it, and then we'll come back to the panelists again, the presenters again. So with this, I want to go to our next presentation. I would like to request Dr. Nurahan Vijaya for his presentation. Dr. Vijaya is Assistant Professor of Department of Urban and Regional Planning in Bandung Institute of Technology in Indonesia. Over to you, Dr. Vijaya.
Thank you, Ms. Reza. Yes, everyone, good morning. Today I would like to present my topic about the nature-based solution for adaptation in the Climate Village program. This is the program initiated by the governments, and it implemented in one of the case in a Kampung Cibunut. We call Kampung Cibunut. Kampung is a village, urban village of Bandung city. So maybe my presentation will divide by some division, like overview of Indonesia, because I think it's important, the context of Indonesia overall, and then the project overview. Next, I will explain about the background and objective of the project, lesson learned, and also key takeaways. Okay. Maybe you already know Indonesia. Indonesia is an archipelago country. We have many islands, and more than 95% is mostly land, and we have water 5%. So we have 5 big islands: Java Island, Sumatra Island, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, and Papua Island. So 2018 estimated we have 260 millions people, with the density 128 people square kilometer. Next. So here we can see that we have some issue faced by Indonesia. We are facing a highly concentrated population in some region. Mostly, almost 60% of people live in Java Islands. And agriculture land conversion become the issue, significant issue, like mentioned before, in Thailand, in another Southeast Asia countries, mostly the land use conversion from unbuilt agriculture to be changed to built up area. And the high population growth rate is increased, especially in the urbanized area. And we also have an issue about the regional disparity, like in the Papua, it is like less economic, and we compare with the West area. And important with our topic, environmental degradation, and one of the most vulnerable area to disaster, like climate change impact. So here, climate change, because we located in the tropical area, monsoon, like a wet, we have only 2 season, wet and hot. So in the urban area, when we have high precipitation, mostly we have flood, urban flood. And if there is what we call drought if there's a high high temperature. Okay, next. So yeah, maybe my perception is different like the others. We focus on the small scale, like in the community level. As mentioned before, we have a village climate village program. This is a national mitigation and adaptation program from the government to reduce or to minimize the climate change impacts in Indonesia. So in 2015, in this area, they built like community-based organization from 5 people become 12 person. They initiated to how to integrate the activity in their daily activity because kampung is like a dense area that many house and we can find in the big cities, not only in Indonesia but in another area like in another country like Thailand, in Bangkok, and etc. Next. So what's the objective of this project? Climate village program in Cibunut. We call Cibunut is one of the village, urban village in Bandung. They try to not only, as mentioned before, that environmental-based adaptation or nature-based solution have many multi-benefits to preserve the environmental area, but we want to find another purpose. For example, like cleanliness and waste management, green living, and also education. And also can be opportunity to be a tourist destination, creativity, and healthy communities. Okay, next. So here you can see this is the study area. Before, maybe this is like the informal settlement that we see not clean and etc. But after this project, the community develop and try to improve the environment. Okay, next. This is they change what we think about the informal settlement become like something nice to see and visual, and also the activity include in this project. So next. Okay, they try to make kampung become a tourism destination by paint the wall along the street that they call kampung is a rainbow village. So it make people from outside want to see what is the interesting that before is like too dark and etc. Now it's become like colorful. Okay, next. And also they try to manage their waste, household waste, compost, and make it something become more valuable. Okay, next. And green living, of course. They try to have like green garden and also a roof garden and etc. So yeah, to make a green living environment. Next. And also they try to educate to the people, not only the community, but also from the outside. They explain about the activities. Students also from another communities. Okay, next. Okay, this is the last my slide that, but there is some challenge, like we have to think about the project sustainability, like if there is no finance and etc., if there is no support from the government, how the community can sustain. And the importance of the community project or the small scale project, they should be like one of local champions, not only from the community, but can bring from outside. that they can monitor, can engage with the community. And the important about the concept of community engagement, there are many kind of the form of community engagement. This is the key. The project can become success. And the last, that the Mr. Alam in the keynote, in the opening remark, he mentioned innovation and technology involvement also now is important to develop this project in the future. Okay, I think that's all from my case. Thank you very much for your attention. Back to Sresa. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Vijay. And I'm sure the participant will have some questions on how you have been so effectively involved the community on getting these multiple benefits on the ground. So again, I encourage all our participants to please put in your questions. So with that, I'll go to our third presentation of this session. May I please request Mr. Prem Dorje Tamang, Environment Officer, Climate Change Division, Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources from Bhutan. Mr. Tamang, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Sending a warm regards from Bhutan. At the outset, let me thank UNIP for providing with me this platform to present on EAV intervention that was implemented in my country. It is my honor to be among the expert from the region. Through this presentation, I would like to provide an overview of EBA initiative currently implemented in Bhutan and present on the lesson learned from therein. So next slide, please. So to start with, let me give you an overview of my country. As you might already know, Bhutan is a tiny Himalayan kingdom with population not more than 700,000. We have embraced a different approach of developmental philosophy, and instead of measuring countries' growth through the usual yardstick of GDP, we use gross national happiness. It's a developmental ideology that puts heightened emphasis on citizen well-being and prosperity, along with conservation of resources at the forefront of economic growth. Our visionary monarchs was recognized the importance of conservation of biodiversity long before it made a sense in a global landscape. As a carbon negative country, our greenhouse gas contribution is literally 0%, meaning we sequester more than what we actually emit. And at COP15 2009, back in 2009, we declared to remain carbon neutral for all times to come. If you are thinking how a tiny kingdom could actually make such a bold proclamation, I must say the answer lies in our pristine forests. Currently, 70% of our land is under forest cover, and more than half of our country is protected under various protected areas such as national park, wildlife sanctuaries, and biological corridor. Despite our strong emphasis on protecting our environment, and of course, completely not at our fault, we are experiencing severe impacts of climate change manifested in various forms, such as rising temperature, loss of glaciers, changing precipitation patterns, and increased climate-induced disaster. According to the need gain, as you can see in the pictures, Bhutan is 38th most vulnerable country. At the same time, we are 62nd most ready country. So with a high vulnerability score and high readiness score, we are placed in the upper quadrant of the net gain matrix. Consistently, however, we are doing better and our ranking has improved over a period of time. Next slide, please. Now, as we try to bring the climate change rational in the context of our urban landscape, I must say we are experiencing rapid and intense impacts in urban areas. For instance, as you see in this picture, Thimphu is our capital city. Thimphu is experiencing increased urban flooding particularly in monsoon seasons, in addition to other climate impacts such as landslide, slope failures, river flooding, to name a few, which has severely impacted our livelihood in urban areas. Next slide. Next slide, please. At the same time, Bhutan is experiencing rapid urbanization. Thimphu alone is home to more than 14% of total population. We are just for the record, we are just about 700,000, and 14% of the total population resides in Thimphu. As more and more people migrate
Mr. Tamang, I think you froze. Are you sure you can? I think there's a network connection. I think Mr. Tamang froze, so maybe should we give him one more minute to reconnect? Let's see. I think he's trying to reconnect. So shall we wait for one more minute? I think we lost him, right? Yeah. Shall we go to the other presentation while he reconnects? Yes, to save the time. I think to save the time, we will move to the fourth presentation, and we will give the floor to Mr. Tamang once his connection is restored. Okay, so our fourth presentation is from Cambodia. So Mr. Ste Sogdara is a national technical expert for the project Building Resilience of Urban System through EbA in Cambodia. So over to you, Mr. Sogdara, for your presentation.
Okay, very good morning to everyone. My name is Sogdara. I'm the moderator introduced. So I will give the short presentation on the EbA project implemented in Cambodia. Next slide, please. Yes, next, please. So the project, you may aware, the expected outcomes, mostly we focus on the capacity building, the intervention in the project site, pilot city, and the awareness raising. Next, please. For Cambodia, Cap province is selected, and it is the a small coastal province in the southern part of Cambodia. And the reason for the selection of this province is because of the flash flood happened in the province, drought and shoreline erosion, and the last one is the windstorm that frequently occur in this particular part of the province. Next, please. And for the project management, we have done some of the important works. Next, please. We have the national and regional project steering committee meeting where we come together with the stakeholder and our partner country and the project teams in order to discuss the budget plan, the work plan, and also to solve any pending issue that we are working on. Next, please. For Cambodia, we completed the assessment reports, 3 assessment reports. The first one on the biodiversity, the biodiversity and the vulnerability, the VA of the project site, and the mapping and the socio-economic and gender assessment of the project. Based on this 3 report, we come to the selection of several interventions or priority that we need to do throughout the project. Next, please. We have produced the video documentary. This one is done at the beginning of the project, so we can see the differences when the project is completed. Next, please. The baseline and for the monitoring and evaluation report was also conducted to find out what happened in the first or early phase of the project and what goes smoothly and what went wrong with the project. Next, please. For the project, we also cooperated with 2 universities. The first one is the Royal University of Phnom Penh, where we support the students who continue their master degree and PhD programs, while the ITC, the Institute of Technology of Cambodia, focus on the buying of the equipment for the research projects. Next, please. We just conducted the midterm review in November 2023, where the international expert came to Cambodia and talked to different stakeholders to find out what are the lessons learned and what is going correctly and what are the recommendations for this one. Next, please. For the interventions, we have several intervention activities, and the first one in the next slide. We completed the mangrove planting of 5 hectares, and this will help the fishery community to improve their livelihood. Next, please. These are the overview of the area that we planted the mangrove. Yes, next. The second one, we completed the canal and the water gate rehabilitation. This one is 7.9 kilometers. And with the beneficiary of around 1,200 people that are living along this area. Yes. Next, please. So these are the picture after the completion of the canal rehabilitation. We also put on the solar light along the canals and plant the tree as well. Next. Similar pictures here, like this. Okay, next. Yes, this is the rehabilitation of the canal. Yes, next. Yeah. Okay, we plant the tree along this one, as you can see. And the third one is building of the guard post. So the important thing is to enable the community to protect their mangrove forest under their management and to prevent the illegal fishing and to increase the number of the fishery products and to have place for the regular meeting of the community. So this cutout is about, the size is about 6 by 9 meters. Next, please. And now we are implementing the crab bank, where we want to increase the income for the local community and provide the knowledge on raising crabs. And the direct beneficiary are 30 families or around 80 people in the first phase. Next, please. We also support the fish farm in the project site to increase the income for the local community and to provide them the knowledge on raising the fish as well. And the beneficiary are around 80 people for this first phase. Next. The next one is a tree nursery. So we supported the provincial department of environment, so they can have the tree nursery where they plant the trees and they provide the tree to different community under the project or outside of the project, and they can use the tree in order to improve their livelihood or to beautify the province. Next, please. The third one is the capacity building. I will go quick with this one. Next, please. So we have a capacity building on the training of the greenhouse cell. Next. The capacity building on the decision-making tool is very important for the selection of the project activities. Next. The awareness raising on the environment and mangrove planting. Yes, next. The awareness raising on the livelihood improvement through mangrove planting, the benefit of a mangrove on the livelihood. Next. The awareness raising on the infrastructure rehabilitation, so inform them the importance of the infrastructure. Yes, next please. And the training on the mangrove protection and infrastructure protection. So when we completed the mangrove planting and the infrastructure, we have to inform the people, teach them how to protect these products. Next, please. So before I end my presentation, I would like to draw the lesson learned. The first one is that it is important that we have to engage the stakeholders, such as the local people and the local authority, throughout the intervention process so that we can get the input and work with them on the decision. Second one, it is important to provide the capacity building for the stakeholders, local authority and local people, as they are the one who will continue the sustainability of the project intervention. And the last one, I find that the decision-making tools provided by the EbA, these tools are important, especially in the selection of the intervention activities. So we have to go through like cost-benefit analysis and something like that. And for me, I believe that it would be great if the training on the decision-making tool can be inserted in the project at the very early stage, so everyone can learn and know how this can work. So with that, I would like to thank you very much for your attention, and I welcome any question that you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stay. Thank you so much for your presentation. I'm sure participants would like to know more about how you have been able to do so much in this very short time of the project duration. So again, I would like to encourage anybody participant to please put in the question in the chat so that we will address that at the end of the presentation. So I would like to go to our next presentation now. Ms. Supravan Phunsavan Tuntun, over to you for your presentation. Ms. Supravan Phunsavan is a national technical expert for building resilience on urban system through EbA in the Lao PDR project. So over to you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Moon. Sabaydi, good morning. Good morning from Laos. Good morning from Vientiane. So I'm Supravan Tuntun, and we're giving the presentation today on behalf of our Urban EbA Laos project team. Next slide, please. Yeah, I just would like to take everyone to the Laos PDR. So Laos is the landlocked country. So the Laos is the geographically and economically vulnerable to the climate change with the relatively low active capacity. The climate extremely small occur as well intense, and climate change is affect the library assets, vulnerable peoples, especially those that are dependent on the biodiversity, ecosystem service, food, and water. Next slide, please. Yes, and the project location under the building climate resilience of urban system through the ecosystem-based adaptation. For Laos, we have the two project areas, one in Phongsali district, Phongsali province, and the second is the Sai district, Udom Sai province. Next slide, please. Yes, and the project goals and objective is the project is leading the vulnerable to the poorest urban communities and to climate change impact using the ecosystem adaptations. The expect outcome and the purpose of the project, we have the three the outcome, and we have the for the outcome one is the strengthening the institutional capacity to the within the managed authorities and demonstrate the EbA in the pilot city. Of course, allow we implement in the two districts, and strengthening the knowledge base for supporting the design of the urban EbA intervention. Yeah, next slide, please. Yes, about the EbA initiative for the urban EbA Laos, because the problem is clearly relevant to the selected cities, Sai and Phongsali. Both Phongsali and Udom Sai face significant climate leaks, drought, landslides, and high sedimentations, floodings. The selection of the city is also integrated in terms of the testing the EbA approach in the city with different types of risks. Next slide, please. And here I would like to take everyone to the project intervention in Phongsali. Normally we have the many interventions, but seeing that the time is given, I just take the field intervention to be the best practice from Laos PDRs. The first intervention to build the reservoirs for the water storage, which are located in the Sansali village. The purpose is to add the reservoir with the new small headwork to store the enough water for the using and the drinking, the water for community, and with the tree plantation in the preservation area at the top of stream, where the location of the reservoirs. Yeah, you can see the pictures. This is the picture. Maybe go for the next slide. We can see the picture of the progress of the work. Next slide, please. Yeah, and this is the progress of the reservoir now. Harvest complete for the reservoirs. And the second intervention, the slope protection area to prevent the landslide in Pon Saat village. You can see the picture in the right-hand side. This is the before we implement the canal to protect the landslides. And we hope that this canal will slow down the flow of the water when the rainy season, and on you can see the earth. We are now preparing for growing the grass to protect the area along the canals. Next slide, please. And the third interventions activity, we improve the canals for expand the drainage ditch with the concrete structure and mix with the green structure. You're going to see in the picture. The picture is from the canal where we applies for the gray construction and also mix with the green structure. You can see with the next slide, you're going to see the progress of the intervention right now. Next slide, please. Yes, and this is the picture is so the no back for the yes. Yes, this picture is so the progress of improvement drainage. We are now is 45 the complete, and you are going to see we apply for the green and also for the environmental box. And you are going to see along the canal, we try to make the green, and we hope so after the end of project, we can make this area is the kind of the public park for the communities. Yeah, next slide, please. And from the intervention, we can symbolize the lesson learned and the best practice in the EbA intervention projects activities implementation. Of course, we have the two selected for different sites. One is experience is flooding, another one is experience with the drought in Phong Sa-Li. So we can learn from both situations. And the EbA concept is to help both reduce the scale of flood and drought, and using the local material, reducing the stone to help the slow of the velocity of the flow, one up and around the water to better preserve the ecosystem. And reducing the concrete for some point of the construction to have the better qualities and address the sustainability concern. Reducing the local material is the benefit local and save the cost, and while working with the urban area and social concern. And it's of course because it's gonna make the slowdown of the progress. And the contract award during the rainy season is the big problem for the construction's progress and implementation the task. Next slide, please. And the last intervention that we are going to show from EbA Laos, we call the improve the ecosystem in the Nong Kheo Pond. The project initiative, the problem, the Nong Kheo Pond is used to serve only the retention pond for the wastewater and rainwater in the rainy seasons. The reaching every dirty environment with a lot of overgrown plants. And therefore, the project goal is enhance the environmental quality and ecosystem of Nong Kheo Pond to transforming into a retention pond for the wastewaters, rainwater, and the habitats, the biodiversity, and also creating the recreational areas for the nearby community and tourists. And you are going to see the many activity that we are trying to improve by using the EbA option. For example, we try to plant the tree, we try to create the cinnamon, and we try to educate, install the information sites about the important wastewater treatment and so many activities you are going to see in the next slides. Yes, and this activity we start in June 2023, and you are going to see the picture showing the November 2023, and you are going to see the last picture just take from the last week. And the challenge and lesson learned from this intervention, the overgrown plant in the pond are difficult to remove. Therefore, the part of sediment had to be removed. As of the pond is full of the water, the wastewater, and the water treatment has taken a long time. And the community nearby does not install the household wastewater treatment and release their wastewater direct to the pond. So therefore, the wastewater treatment in the pond shall be a continuously activities. And local people get used to throw the waste into the pond and drainage system that's connect to the ponds. Therefore, the educating and prohibiting them on this practice shall be take some time. Next slide, please. And the picture is so after the improvement of the ecosystem in Nong Kiao Pond. We can say that the current outcome, the environmental in Nong Kiao is improved. Some migrant bird during the winter could be found after the improvement of the pond, and the local people allow the ponds recreational and do the exercise purpose within this area, and it's very attractive for the tourists to come and visit Phom Sali. Next slide, please. And lastly, under the implementation of these projects, we also developed the kind of the EbA Laos web portals had developed under the support of the projects. This portal is aiming to promote the EbA best practice and experiences in Laos. And now the web portal is under developed, and we hope also to launch this website before the project end. Yes, that's all the presents from the Urban EbA Laos. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Supravan. Thank you so much for your presentation. And I think we will go directly to another presentation from Laos, because I think both these projects are working on the urban EbA sector. So that will give an even more holistic picture of what are the things that's happening in the Laos, right? So can I now ask Ms. Nalintong Vilasane for her presentation? Ms. Nalintong Vilasane is the project coordinator for building resilience of urban population with ecosystem-based adaptation in Lao PDR project. So I think this is a GCF funded project, right? So over to you, Ms. Nang.
Thank you, Moon. Sabadi from Laos, and thank you so much to give opportunities to presentation from Laos. Yes, we are the same umbrella, like we develop the EbA concept to Laos, and in the same Department of Climate Change, Ministry of Natural Resource and Environments, but our project area is a little bit different, like from the EbA projects that Tuntun just presented. That's in the northern part, and we are focused in the southern part mostly. Next slide, please. Yes, this is the project area. We have the 4 target area. One is the Vientiane capital. The second one is Bali Kamsai province, and the third and the fourth one in the north, the southern part in Savannakhet and Champasak province. Next slide, please. And what exactly the problem that we would like to address? These projects we call the urban EBS. Is we try to reduce the floods which is occur in Lao PDR, and what we try to do is we try to mainstream or integrate the flood management strategy in the policy or the government policy framework in Lao PDRs. Next slide, please. So this is the main thing that we are going to develop. This the flood management strategy, which is so many things you can see from the flow chart is here. The consultation, it will be taken so many consultation. We develop the EbA guidelines. We do the modeling for the 4 cities. That's all the factor will be combined to the flood management strategy. Next, please. We have 2 main components for our projects. This is the one component is talking about the capacity building for the local people, the government staff. This is the main thing that we would like to develop, to build. And the second one is we call the rehabilitation of the wetland and the stream for the project area by using the eco-based system. Yeah. Next slide, please. When we are talking about the rehabilitation or the protection of the eco-base, we focus in Boli Kamsai Porim for the wetland, and in Jampasak and Savanakhet, it will be for the stream. Yep. Next slide, please. So this is what we have done so far. In Boli Kamsai province, we focus on the wetland. So we clean the wetland, and by using the people, the communities who are cleaning the invasive and the solid waste. Next, please. We also work closely with National University of Laos or the Faculty of Forestry to develop what we call the management plan. We have the wetland management plan and also the stream management plan for another 2 provinces. And also we kind of do the land use plannings for the buffer zone in the wetland and the stream. Next, please. Another thing that our project is conduct is to develop the knowledge hub. This hub will be located at the University of Laos. So this hub is the heart of the EBAs, or everything will be documented, the research on the EBA, the climate change, on the environment, so the people can be assessed in the future, not only the student who will do the research, but also like the international partner would like to see what have been done so far and what we can connect or build on. This will be put in the knowledge hub. Next, please. So this is the flow charts that we develop. What we will have in the hub, mostly in the EBA knowledge, and it will be disseminated. Next, please. We also do the capacity building, as I mentioned, in our component 1. And this is we work closely or in collaboration with the UN Habitat to provide the training to our government staff, not only the official, not only the technical people, but also the decision maker that have to learn and to know about the EBA concept, which is very new to us as well. Next, please. At the local communities, like at the provincial, we work closely with the Lao women unions, the Ponre, the Donle, and the community people to do the awareness raising campaigns. We conduct the awareness raising during the important days like environmental days, the wetland, the World Wetland Days. This kind of campaign we are conducting. Next, please. Next, please. We design the campaign material, and these are using at the local communities. Next, please. So that's the thing that we have done so far, and some lessons learned that we have learned and would like to share with you. That this is the projects. And this is a new for the EBA concept. We think that this is quite advanced planning in terms of the processing or the research. People can do more research on the EBA, and we work closely with the partnership, and so many partnership. I would say not only the in country like the National University, but we also do the partnership with the international university like the AIT from Thailand, Monash from the Melbourne, Australia. And another thing that we would like to share as well, this is kind of the encourage the local people to to be aware of what they have done at the communities, and they can participate during the cleaning process, the rehabilitation, the land use planning. We are quite like to hear from them what they are doing at the buffer zone and what they are planning to do for protect their area. And the third one is the capacity buildings. Of course, we build the capacity not for only the technical, but also the decision maker to know us about the EBA concept. We will do the what we call the study tour with the other country to learn from the other country as well. And another thing that we could not aware from is about the social environmental safeguard. So on the activity that have been done, so we have to make sure that's not harm to the environmental in that area. This is the concept of EBA. And lastly, about the gender issue, this is very important that we can bring the more women participate in not only the process of the implementation, but in terms of the develop the strategy, the policy, this kind of thing. We are encourage the women to be participate. So I think this is the thing that we learn from that. And yes, and next, I think this is on of my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nang. That was lots of information and very interesting one. So thank you so much. I think we have Mr. Pem Doje Tamang again online. Mr. Tamang, can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yes, I think so.
So you're back. So please continue with the presentation. I think you've reached. Do you want us to tell us from which slide?
No, it's okay. I got where I reached, so I'll start. And I'm sorry for the technical glitches. I'm traveling, so it's sort of so the network is here and there. So I'll start with where I left. So fortunately, we are a part of a regional program. My colleagues here from Laos, from other 3 countries has already presented, so I might not repeat that. Next slide, please. So this project, through that EBA project, it was implemented in Thimphu. It is being currently implemented in Thimphu. We're at the final stage of the project closure, and this project implementation of this project benefited multitude of beneficiaries. Going from the top, it's urban dwellers that were largely benefited. Then we have city management, wherein the capacity and institutional capacity of the city management authorities was significantly strengthened. We have university that also collaborate with us. Then we also have an urban commuter that uses the roads that were developed as a part of this project. Next slide. Under this project, we have implemented myriads of EBA interventions. To just give you some of them. Number one, it's low-income housing construction. Then we have riverbank protections, development of green spaces, urban agriculture, rainwater harvesting, so and so forth. Can I go to the next slide? To give you a holistic understanding and the overview of how some of this intervention benefited our people, let's talk about low-income housing. The Mr. Chandra here, as seen in this slides, has been working in Thimphu city for last 30 years through a daily wage system without an adequate financial stability. Initially, he used to live in the urban slum, as you can see in the left corner of the slides. After the construction of low-income housing, along with Mr. Chandra, 28 families has been living in a newly constructed houses. I have also attested here verbatim of how Mr. Chandra is grateful of construction, grateful through this project. I have the verbatim. I won't read it. Let's go to the next slide. We also had an active slide called Ziluka slide. It was an active slide, and it had the sliding mass of more than 1,000 metric tons. So it was quite a heavy mass, and provision of conventional protection measure was out of questions. Therefore, we implemented environment-friendly and green slope stabilization initiative. And this is how the lower picture is how it actually looks like right now. Let's go to the next picture. Slides. So another initiative that actually made a headline was the urban agriculture initiatives. Through this project, we supported more than 150 households where high yielding seed varieties and agriculture tools were distributed, in addition to 2 series of training in composting technique and mushroom cultivation. This initiative particularly led to enhancement of livelihood of this vulnerable section of our people, mainly through the reduction of financial burden to buy vegetable from external source. And in addition, it provided them the additional income through the sale of surplus vegetables. Next. This is my final slides, just to present on what was the lesson we learned and how we can take the lesson learned from this forward. We noted that contextual understanding to tailor intervention to this specific social, economic, and ecological context is very important. It's always pivotal to promote adaptive governance so as to facilitate flexibility. Then we have already invested in long-term engagement and capacity building of local stakeholders. We are already in the process of scaling up and mainstreaming EBA projects. As information, we already have another $20 million USD urban resin project in pipeline through LDCF fund itself. It is at the PPT phase, and lesson learned from this EBA project has been very instrumental in guiding the elements in our own new project. Thank you very much. Sorry for the technical glitches.
Thank you, Mr. Tamang, and I'm happy that you're able to join us after this, even after the glitches. And thank you for making an effort to join when you are, despite your travel also. So thank you so much. Thank you for all 6 presenters. So if you could turn on the videos, I think there are some questions here. Maybe there are a few questions which is a very issue specific, which maybe will not address it in the plenary. But then I think there's one comment by by Mr. Faisal Ramsey. So basically he addressed the question to Dr. Vijay, but I think this relates to all our presenters, is that what are some challenges experienced while engaging the communities to gain community buy-in and investment with their initiatives? I think this is something I'm sure all the projects have faced, and it would be good to hear from all of you, maybe 1 minute from all of you, how each of your project ensured that the community participation is ensured, and then in true sense, these projects are locally led. So shall I start from Dr. Vijay, as it has been addressed to you, and then maybe 1 minute, and then I'll go to other panelists. And then after that, Mr. Tamang, and then Tuntun and Nang. And I don't know if Pon, you'd like to address this issue or not. So in that sequence, over to you, Dr. Vijay.
Thank you, Ms. Reza. Yes, thanks also the question from Mr. Fraser Ramsey. Yeah, at the first time, the project initiated by the government needs some involvement. So sometimes the people in the community feel indifferent or reject the project because sometimes it is top down and there is no involvement in each phase of the project. So after some time, in our case, they began to understand the project benefit. So we have to explain the community what is the benefit of this project. This is important things. And the key things that we have to understand is how to increase the community involvement in the project pace. In every each pace, they need to involve not only in one pace, but all pace of the cycle of the project. And also the important, if the community engagement is identifying someone who can be a local champs. They can engage the other people. So, for example, the community leaders, senior figures, or people who have the good or better level of education. I think that's all. And another thing is, if they already have social capacity or social model also is important. So we just input this project and then implement the project. So I think that's all. Back to Sresa. I think you still please unmute.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Vijay. So before I hand over to Mr. Tamang and our other presenters, I would also like to add in, I think it is related to the question that how you involve the community in this whole process. And there's another question from Seth Samito, I hope I got the pronunciation right, from FRRC Asia Pacific Regional Office. That like one thing is we involve the communities, right? But then again, there are governments who are involved in the policy making, and then generally, especially when we are talking about the urban sector, some of the government might prioritize gray infrastructure over green infrastructure, whereas whereas community might demand or the need is for the green infrastructure. So how do these projects balance the top-down approach with the bottom-up process when doing this NBS? So maybe if the panelists could address that also while both the questions while responding. So over to you, Mr. Tamang.
I'd like to answer the question you mentioned right now. So in Bhutan, what we did was we actually, in this project, we have two different departments, or we say organization that is particularly involved herein. So we have Thimphu Thomde, who looks after construction of and the administration of the Thomde or the city. Then we have Department of Environment and Climate Change, who acted as a PMU. So we have a green agency which is mandated to carry forward the adaptation priorities. Then we have Thimphu Thomde, who has the mandates to administer the management in the city. So therefore we have two sectors, and we had our own vertical and horizontal collaboration with our other agencies. We had various rounds of consultation with our partners, including CSOs and NGOs. And it is true that this collaboration that we had, so that two organizations bringing all the people together, actually helped the progress of this project. Thank you.
Am I unmuted? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tamang. So over to you, Tuntun, for your response on the two questions.
Yes. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, thank you, Moon. I totally agree with what our colleagues each mentioned when we talk about the community. But I just would like to focus for the community through awareness to the communities, because if we do the awareness to the community and let the community to understand, for example, from Larpedia, I think that at the local level, maybe the EBA is their concept already, but they don't know this is the concept of the EBA. So we just would like to let them know this is if we can do the state cost, and then we do the awareness for them as we make for the sustainable. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Nang, you'd like to add something on this?
Just a short one, like from our projects, normally we have like from the different level, we call the project steering committees at the national provincial level. So that's what I have mentioned, that one of our components is to build the capacity for the government's people, not only the technical people, but also the decision maker at the national level. These people will learn about the EBA concept, as well as we have this kind of the sharing experience from other country by doing the study tour, that's for instance. And at the community levels, for the participation, it's hard to provide the trainings for the community level, but we do, like Tuntun mentioned, a lot of the consultation or the awareness raising campaigns on how important and how they can protect in that area. And of course, the setting up the what we call here the like the wetland management committee, the stream management committee. There's a very help us as well, because not only the villager that will be in the member, but also we include the private sector as well when we do the landing planning, land use planning. Of course, we are taking them to their participation as well. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So maybe I'll give a floor briefly to Mr. Srey, if he has anything to add, add to what our colleagues have already mentioned, if there is any additional thing that a project has done to address this issue.
For Cambodia, not so different, but the thing is that we completed the assessment report that I mentioned, and we use the assessment report as the baseline for the selection of the intervention activities. So when we selected, we selected a list of activity. We have the consultation with the local authority through our PMU. So this one is good for us for the selection of the best, or we think the suitable activity for the project site. So where the stakeholder, like local people, they have the voice in this as well. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Srey. So at the end, can I please give the floor to Kunpan for her response? I'd like to request her to respond to this from the IUCN perspective.
I pick up lots of good point already that our colleagues just share, but I think it's very important to look at the decentralization of the country, you know, because this one I saw it's very effective when authority at the local level can really initiate. Because, like for example, in Thailand, many initiatives will be developed by the ministerial at the ministerial level, and then downscale to the local authority through this Ministry of Interior. But then they will have like some fixed solution already. So then that's where the engagement of local people will be undermined or really marginalized. So I think it is very important to socialize the concept of this nature-based solution or the approaches under this NBS, and make sure that they really understand. So then they will have a variety of options available, not only like concrete dam or having this cement of the concretize of the cement canal and whatsoever. So then that's when we have this and options available for those local authority, then the investment decision will come from them, and then balance it with some option from the central government. So first step, I would say that it is very important to have this option available and make sure that they really understand the options of the nature-based solution and EBA. And then after that, at the community level, you need to make sure that these options are presented and consulted with the local community appropriately since the beginning. So it is not what about the community want to do, but also what they really see the root cause of this problem. So then they can find out the right solution to the problem that they are encountering now. And when the information are shared equally, both the policymakers and the communities, that where the right solution will come based on those, as I said at the beginning, that climate assessment vulnerability result will need to be there. So then people will think or come up with a solution based on in that information and some solution that they could find under this nature-based solution families. That's all from me, Moon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kunpan. It seems like we have more questions in our chat. People would like to know about the methodology used for the monitoring and the indicators that has been used, and also different assessment tools that has been used. I think that is being used. I think it will require another separate session on that. So I don't know if you will be able to address that, but I think can I ask my colleague Anna to put in the contact address of our panelists, so that if you, I think it would be good for you to reach out to the panelists and discuss about offline on that. But I don't know if yeah, I think
included the tool for convenience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pon did mention about the tools, and I'm sure, especially the regional project in Bhutan, Cambodia, and Laos, they have used the decision-making tool. So, colleagues, if you could share that tools, yeah, Upon has already shared the tool that IUCN is using in the chat box. Can the participant confirm that they have access to it? And I'm sure, I think Bhutan, Mr. Tamang, Mr. Shrey, Tuntun, I think you have used the decision-making tool also. If you could share those in the chat box, it would be very helpful for the participant. Thank you so much. So I think we have very limited time now, and I thank you so much for all our panelists and our participant for a very active participation. I think, yeah, please continue this conversation offline also. Anna has shared the email address of all the panelists. So before we close the session, we have a Mentimeter. We want to know our participant, where you've come from, what have you, if your expectation of this session has been met or not. So there are a few questions. Anna, do you want to go through the question, or we'll put it on offline? So we don't have time to go through the questions. So may I please request the participant to please go online, and then please click on the link, you have to put the number, right? You have to put the code, and please respond to the question so that we will know more about where you are from, what is your background, and what was the takeaway for you from this session, and what more we could do so that we can come up with more session like this in future, especially from EPAN and GAN perspective. So thank you so much for all our presenters again, and for Babu also for the opening remark. In this 90 minutes, we understood a lot. We heard a lot about the importance of urban EBA, why it is important, especially when we are talking about it. Babu did talk about importance of urban sector, how urban sectors are, urban areas are the hub of innovation, and it's a place where the solutions can be found. You can just stop here. Sorry. So solution can be found, right? So if you look at the data, it says is that around more than 50% of the global population live in the urban areas, and the urban, with the rate of increase in urbanization, with the increase in population and everything, this rate is increasing drastically, and it is expected that around in a couple of decades, it's around 70% population will be living in the urban sector. So when we are talking about the urban development, when we're talking about the urban resilience, we are addressing a large population. So it's very important for us to make sure that we talk about the urban development. So with this population, of course, like when we talk about urban development itself, there's lots of pressure that's happening on the infrastructure. There's lots of demand on infrastructure. The pressure is happening in the natural resources. We are losing our green spaces, and of course, the urban poor percentage is increasing. And on top of it, we have climate change impact. We have drought, flood, urban flood. We are seeing more and more very severe urban floods. We are seeing cities with a severe water shortage issues. And we are seeing cities with lack of green spaces. Right. So, and these are all, and then the temperature increase, all these climate change impacts is putting even more pressure to the urban development. So it's very important for us to address that. And realizing this, there are more and more ecosystem-based adaptation or nature-based solution that has come up in the world. And this is what we heard, this is what we heard from different speakers. What are the interventions that has happened and how effective it has been? And from the literature that is available, it is proven that nature-based solution is much more cost-effective and efficient and much more sustainable solution than a gray infrastructure. And as Pon said, of course, when we're talking about nature-based solution or ecosystem-based adaptation, we have to think long-term, right? So it's not like an infrastructure that you do the construction and you see the result. But then if you're thinking about the more sustainable approach, we have to think about nature-based solution, right? So that's something that we really, when all of us, who are practice now, who are policymakers, who are developing proposal, implementing proposal, to really make sure that, and really need to ensure that, and then also have built our case that this is a long-term solution. You can't see the result right now, but then that is the most cost effective, right? So thank you so much again. So in Thailand, thank you so much to our presentation. I think in Thailand, the most important takeaway for me from Thailand presentation is, again, Pon, thank you so much for refreshing our knowledge on EBA and nature-based solution. It's always good to start the conversation with the knowledge. And then you did mention about why EBA matters and what matters in EBA. And the most important thing that you really talked about is the adaptation cycle of EBA, which I think for me also, and I'm sure most of our participants can also relate, is that when we are developing a proposal, implementing a proposal, we don't know where to start. Because most of the time, I think some of the participants also discussed, the question has also come up that how to minimize, how to balance the need for the green infrastructure with the green infrastructure. So when the adaptive management cycle, the adaptive cycle of EBA that you showed really gives us a baseline as to how we should do the planning stepwise and do it in a more systematic way. And also, and on Indonesia, I think it is a good example of a locally led adaptation where you involve the community, you make sure that the communities are involved and the most vulnerable stakeholders are involved, and then it will give you more climatic and non-climatic benefit, and it will ensure that more like multiple benefits is achieved. And from Cambodia, I think they're like we saw the series of successful intervention, and I've been following the project also, and I know that some of the project has really implemented very good interventions, and it has been featured in different forums. And I feel that's because from your presentation from today, I could see that there was lots of assessment done at the initial stage of the project, and then there was lots of evidence, and then you have done the planning based on the evidence that came out from those assessments. With that, there's a very good rationale that has come up, so that really helped to prepare the plan for the project, and you could really demonstrate very successful cases. And also, like the same as in Bhutan, as Mr. Tamang said, that you need to have a conceptual clarity. You need to know what you are doing. You need to have a climate. You need to understand the climate context. You need to have that knowledge base before you start going on the planning. And that is what I think that one of the lessons learned from Bhutan, which really caught to me, is that you need to have a conceptual clarity before on why we are doing those interventions before you go to that intervention, and then you get the success on that, right? So, and then looking at it, it's very interesting to see Bhutan taking into a holistic approach and looking at ecosystem, including the nature assets, also the people and socio-economic asset, and also the need for the communities to have a very decent housing. All these things taken into consideration and looking at it as an EBA perspective. So thank you so much for that. And of course, like Lao is always very interesting for me, because there's so many interesting things happening in Lao, and then very proactively undertaking the intervention. So I really like the EBA project that Tuntun presented, and it's very interesting to see how you have managed to have a very good balance between gray and green infrastructure. But then when we're doing this, this is the conversation we keep having, it keeps coming in different forums, is like, where does a gray infrastructure stops and where does a green infrastructure starts? And I think there shouldn't be any distinction in that, right? And then also, I think even especially in the urban context, we shouldn't be saying this is gray infrastructure, this is green infrastructure. It is like an integration of those two. And then to be sure that what are the issues that we are addressing. We are addressing the climate change issue, and that is how we move forward. And the same thing with the GCF Lao project also is, it's very good to see the focus of the project in addressing the urban EBA. Mainly on from the water sector and mainly from the urban flooding perspective. And it's very interesting to see the plan that you are doing. But then something that really caught me up is your knowledge hub, right? So the kind of framework you have kind of detailed plan you have to prepare a knowledge, and then go ahead with the conceptual framework. Because I think all of us would agree that this is a process where we are learning and doing different things. And when we are talking especially about adaptation, it is a very context specific thing. And that's where we include the partners, we include our stakeholders, and we come up with a plan. And any learning from each project is very useful for like this forum. You've come up, I'm sure all these interventions that you have identified, you have involved the stakeholders, you have local partners, you have involved the vulnerable communities, you have involved the women, children, elderly people, disabled, and then based on their need, it was the intervention is planned in a very context specific manner. But then if we come and present it in the forum like this, it's a kind of a knowledge for all of us. All of us can learn from each other's experience. So that's very important to generate that knowledge and share that knowledge, and collaborating with the academic institution, which I think Nang you present was very encouraging. And if you look at the other presentation also, I could see the knowledge generation and documentation in all the project component, which is very useful, very powerful, and very relevant for the future. So thank you so much for again for all the presenters, and for your very insightful presentation, and thank you for participant for your active participation. So at the end, before closing, I'd like to thank the organizer of this conference, International Center for Climate Change and Development, Independent University of Bangladesh, IUB, and organizer of Gobeshona Global Conference. So and also, last but not the least, I'd like to thank my two colleagues here, Vanessa and Anna, who has worked behind the scene to bring this session together, and has been doing everything and prompting me on what to do and everything. So thank you so much. So Vanessa is managing the EBA, and Anna is managing the Global Adaptation Network. So thank you, colleagues. Have a good day, and thank you all for the very, very good participation. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.